Welcome to SJNA's State of the Academies Town Hall. My name is Steve Matz, Dean of Advancement, and will be serving as your moderator for today's discussion. Joining us today is Board Chair Michael Henn and our recently appointed President, Major General Paul Lima. This is the second of two town halls that we are hosting. The first was yesterday, and we will be following the same format and content as we did yesterday. Key areas of focus for today's discussion will be on recent milestones, strategic plan goals, and operational plans moving forward. At the conclusion of the presentations, we will transition to a brief Q&A session where we will answer questions submitted in advance. I want to offer special thanks to Julius Capital, our partners today, who not only consult with us on fundraising initiatives, but are generously offering their technical support during these virtual town halls. With that said, I'd like to introduce St. John Northwestern Academies Board Chair, Michael Henn.
Thank you, Steve. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you and your families are all safe and well in these difficult times. General Lima and I are extremely pleased to be able to present to you this status update on the academies at this town hall. You know, I first joined the Board of Trustees for St. John's over 15 years ago. I was named chairman of the Board of Trustees in January of 2019 when Jack Albert was president and planning to retire. I'd like to start today's presentation by reviewing some of the major milestones that have occurred on the road we have traveled since that time. Foremost among those milestones was the implementation of a new strategic plan. This was approved by the Board of Trustees shortly before I became chairman, and it's a major comprehensive 5-year plan that establishes our goals of achieving operational and financial stability by the end of that plan. We intend to do that by growing enrollment substantially and by raising the funds that'll be needed to support that. Foremost in that plan is our mission statement. And I thought I would set the stage for our discussion today by reading that mission statement to you. St. John's Northwestern Academies educates and develops young men and women into responsible citizens and moral and ethical leaders who are inspired to meet the world's challenges. We achieve this through the foundational pillars of strong academics, enriching spiritual and character development, outstanding athletic programs, and effective leadership training, all provided in a secure and nurturing environment. This critical mission statement guides everything we do at the Academy. The next milestone of importance was that we needed to have a presidential succession process, our first in 15 years. After a nationwide search, we appointed Tom Stocks as president. Tom is an old boy with a real passion for the Academy, and he has very strong business skills that he brought to bear in a transitional role as president. He performed in an outstanding fashion, supported by an excellent team, and he and his team deserve great credit for the milestones that followed. The first of those milestones that followed was the admission of female cadets. I know this is a big strategic change for us, but it opened up a whole new avenue of enrollment growth. Growth for girls that want the same high-quality leadership that we have been providing our boys for 137 years. The next milestone is the launch of the Leadership Academy. This opened up another major avenue of enrollment growth for students who want leadership training, but leadership training that's different than that based on military principles. These two new initiatives have provided major and critical support for our plans to grow enrollment. The next major milestone was our fundraising success. Over the past 2 years, we have raised $11 million to support our mission and to cover our operating cash flow gap. Our deepest thanks go to all of those who have provided these critically needed funds over that period of time. We have also had operating success milestones. We've strengthened our academic program by adding new AP classes. Our sports teams have had great success, including our basketball team that just had a thrilling last-second three-point basket win last night. And so we're continuing on well with our basketball. And also, thanks to General Lima's assistance, we've had a cadet appointed to West Point every year for the last 6 years. And we've also had cadets appointed to other academies, especially the Naval Academy. True testimonial to the strength and ongoing excellence of our military academy program. And finally, the most recent milestone is our second presidential succession. The Academy is extremely fortunate to be able to name Major General Lima as president. General Lima will build on Tom's accomplishments and achieve our strategic goals. I am extremely thrilled to work with General Lima, and I look forward to his success in achieving his goals. But despite the milestone successes of the road we've traveled, we must soldier forward on the road ahead. The key milestones on that road include growing enrollment, improving our operational excellence, and raising the remaining funds that we need to enable the achievement of the plan as it occurs over the next few years. As to growing enrollment, we are achieving steady growth this semester. I'm very proud to report we have almost 160 cadets. We started with 150, so we're making very steady progress in growing enrollment. And General Lima has excellent plans in place to build on that momentum, to continue us toward our strategic goal of achieving over 325 students on campus by the end of the next 3 years. Another important milestone that we need to make more progress with is improving our operational excellence. General Lima has a keen appreciation of our need for academic excellence and will be adding more AP courses and doing other things toward that goal. He also has identified hundreds of thousands of dollars of cost savings. These cost savings are critically important to reduce our future fundraising needs. And we expect to achieve these cost savings without reduction in the quality of our programs. And lastly, fundraising. The Academy plans to raise another $10 million in the next 2 years, including at least $4 million by June 30th of 2021. Fortunately, we're well on our way with a plan that includes 2 main components. The first is a sale leaseback of the Academy's real estate. This is targeted to achieve $8 million of benefit to the Academy, including raising $2.5 million of net cash and paying off all of our bank debt, all $5.5 million of it. So that $8 million is a critical benefit to us at the present time. The benefit is even better, though, because it includes a lease. That's a 40-year lease. That lease is for the main campus as we know it today. It also includes a buyback provision that gives us the ability to buy back the campus at some point in the future to the extent we have funding to do that. That buyback provision is at a very good price. We hope to close this transaction very soon. You know, I'm aware that there have been rumors and misinformation about this transaction. Let me make this very clear. This is strictly a financial transaction. The Academy will maintain control of its campus for at least the next 40 years. There will be no negative impact on the campus as it currently exists, and there will be no negative impact on our operations on the campus as they presently exist. The second fundraising component is the launch of a new fundraising effort we're calling the Continuity Campaign. This campaign has a goal to raise $7.5 million over the next 2 years through a combination of providing investment notes in the Academy and also donations. Stay tuned as we announce more about this exciting new program. In summary, While the road ahead will be challenging and arduous, I have every confidence that with General Lima's operational excellence and plans and the ongoing assistance of Tom Stocks with our fundraising, we will achieve our goals. Now, I'd like to turn the dais over to General Lima to talk about his operational excellence plans. General?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me this opportunity to articulate my priorities and objectives for St. John's Northwestern Academies over my tenure, expect to be the next 3 to 5 years. By means of introduction, let me give you some of my background. Like many of you, I'm a product of the Junior ROTC program, having entered it in the 7th grade at Boston Latin School in the 1950s. I graduated from there 6 years later and immediately entered West Point at the age of 17. 4 years later, in 1967, I was commissioned in the infantry branch and served in the regular Army for the next 6 years, with 3 overseas assignments in Europe, Vietnam, and Central America. Returning to the United States in 1973, I embarked on 2 careers. One in corporate America, where I was fortunate to attain C-level executive responsibilities with American International Group in New York and Northwestern Mutual here in Wisconsin. And my second career was in the Army Reserve, where I was fortunate to serve as a general officer for over 10 years. In 2005, I retired from both careers. However, 4 years later, I returned to the Army as a special government employee, reporting directly to the Secretary of the Army, and still serve him in that capacity. As part of my duties with the Secretary of the Army, since 2010, I've been working with St. John's Northwestern Cadets for admission to West Point. We've been very successful here, as St. John's Military Academy is now the #1 feeder school to the United States Military Academy from the state of Wisconsin. Last September, I became engaged as a consultant here at St. John's Northwestern, and on Veterans Day, November 11th, I was named as the 18th president of this esteemed institution. I'm very excited about this opportunity. First of all, I'm very passionate about our mission, and I have vetted our graduates through the West Point application process and watched many of them excel and mature in the West Point environment. Secondly, my family has felt very supported here. The board chair and board of trustees in general have been very welcoming and encouraging. As you all know, St. John's Northwestern is an outstanding institution with 137 years of history and tradition. I plan to take the necessary measures to ensure we lay a proper foundation so that this great institution will continue and flourish for the next 137 years. Having been engaged for only a short time here at St. John's Northwestern, I've been impressed with our operational capabilities and the manner that the staff, faculty, and student body have handled 2 special scenarios. The first is the COVID-19 environment that we were in. It's been managed very well here. We have an infirmary on campus that has provided excellent medical advice. The contract that we have is with the ProHealth organization. We have a physician's assistant and staff here on site. The first cases we encountered were last October. We conducted in early November a lockdown to restrict access to the campus. It was very effective. We were able to treat and release all 30 cases we had. All our students were healthy and able to go on their Thanksgiving break. As they returned in December here, we've instituted a second lockdown that will continue until December 18th when they begin Christmas break. The second scenario is that of in-person classes. We have been able to continue these without interruption throughout the first semester. And this capability is developing as an important core competency of St. John's Northwestern, in the COVID-19 environment. For your general information, returning from Thanksgiving break, we presently have 120 of our students that are taking in-person classes. Less than 40 are in virtual classes. Let me now refer to our way forward. My focus going forward is to achieve our strategic planning goals by executing high levels of operational excellence. Priorities this academic year are in 3 areas. First of all, in the admissions area, to grow our student body in the second semester to 200. Cost containment will remain a high priority, and we will not have any growth in the end strength of our staff and faculty. And we have already, as the chairman mentioned, identified other cost-saving areas that are already underway. In fundraising, we will be supporting aggressively our annual fundraising activities and supporting the upcoming continuity campaign that the chairman mentioned. Our short-term objectives are several. To grow our student body in the next 1 to 3 years to 325, as previously mentioned, to continue our cost containment measures. As far as the military academy, to return the strength of the Corps of Cadets to 200 and to reestablish our military academy as a nationally recognized premier junior ROTC unit. As far as the Leadership Academy is concerned, we will be revisiting the leadership development model upon which it was founded. We will be growing its enrollment to 100 and solidifying the operating protocols of that organization. Female students, another area of special emphasis. We need to exceed the break even for our student life operations relative to the female students. And to do that, we need to grow the size of our female student body to at least 40. The next area of emphasis will be to be requesting from the board approval to establish a middle school academy here at St. John's Northwestern. Middle school academy will be educating students in the 6th to the 8th grades, and it will become an even more important feeder vehicle to our college prep academies. In the academic area, we will be upgrading the credentials of our faculty, especially relative to advanced degrees, grow our advanced placement courses from the existing 6, which we'll have in the second semester, to 12, and having a great focus to improve the ACT test results of our student body. On a medium-term basis, we have 3 fundamental objectives. To grow the student body to 400 and above, maintain the cost containment protocols that we'll have in place, and most importantly, to achieve a break even really for the first time in many years. This break even will be where the tuition will pay for our academy operations, thereupon setting the stage so that we can begin to build significant endowment resources for future needs of St. John's Northwestern Academies. I thank you for your interest and attention. Back to our chairman for a few concluding comments.
Thanks, General Lima. Well, there you have it. Past milestones, strategic goals, and General Lima's plans for operational excellence. General Lima, our dedicated and passionate Academy staff, Tom Stocks, and me, along with our Academy and Foundation board members, all will be working tirelessly to achieve our strategic plan goals of operational and financial stability in the next 5 years. Nothing less than full success will be acceptable. We enthusiastically accept this challenge, but we need all the help we can get. That means every single person who believes in this academy and its mission must join us in this effort. Each and every cadet, student, parent, past parent, the Parents Club, the alums, the OBAA, all of us must do our part. So we ask each of you to commit to the following two things. First, help us find and enroll every single cadet and leadership student we can find. This means networking, hosting events online or in person, helping the enrollment department with referrals anytime you're called upon. This all hands-on deck effort must begin immediately with enrollment for the remainder of this semester and at midterm. And then it must continue on to maximize enrollment for next fall, and the fall after that, and the fall after that. We need to make sure we achieve our goal of at least 325 students on campus in the next 3 years. This is the most fundamental key to assuring the long-term success of our sacred mission. Second, help us raise the funds that we need to enable the Academy to meet our enrollment goals. This means giving to the Academy to the greatest extent you can and that you are individually able, and encouraging others to do the same thing. We have a special opportunity this year in that regard. The tax laws were changed due to the pandemic to allow charitable deductions up to the maximum of your adjusted gross income. But you have to act on this by December 31st, since this is a one-time window that will expire at year end. The Academy also offers a complete array of estate planning strategies. We have $15 million or more of estate planning gifts that have been documented, and we need to build on that. We can do that because we have free legal advice to offer anyone who wants to provide an estate gift to us. Please contact Steve Matz for more information about that. Lastly, please consider participation in our upcoming continuity campaign. And if you're called upon, please be receptive and join us with that. Together, we're going to march on to success for the Academy we so dearly love. With that, we conclude our presentation. Thanks so much for your attention. Now back to Steve to address some questions that have been submitted. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Henn and Major General Lima. At this point in time, we're going to transition into a short Q&A session. Thank you to those who submitted questions in advance of this town hall. As one might suspect, we received multiple questions inquiring on similar topics. Therefore, we selected questions that best represented the collective from the areas addressed. In the event we don't get to your question, we will reply with a response shortly hereafter. So without further ado, let's begin. Mr. Henn, the first question is for you. Are the values we are seeking to instill in our cadets and students consistent with our legacy and history?
Well, Steve, thanks for asking that question. I've been involved with the Academy at very close range for over 15 years now. I am very confident that there's been no change in our core values, certainly no deterioration in our core values. The board has recently thought through this whole issue of core values and taken some steps to actually strengthen them so that we have core values now that really focus on moral and ethical thinking, educational excellence, diversity, independence, and the various things that we think are important for our cadets to carry forward with. This includes responsible citizenship as they go forward in their lives. We think these core values apply to all of our students, both the Military Academy cadets and the Leadership Academy students. And so while execution of core values can be better or worse over time, and by the way, I think they've been good, and I think they're going to get even better under General Lima, we believe the core values themselves have remained constant and, if anything, been strengthened.
Very good. Thank you. I'd like to continue with you, Mr. Henn. You had mentioned a mission statement in your opening remarks. Here's a question. Says we had several questions on the mission statement, including about how it has changed. Has it changed with the Leadership Academy, and whether we have walked away from our pre-military academy brand?
Well, Steve, it's very clear to me we have not walked away from our military academy brand. And General Lima's comments about even further strengthening our military academy brand, I think, are a strong testament to that. Now, of course, under our strategic plan, we've added a leadership academy, and I don't believe that actually has had any negative effect on the military academy brand. The military academy, I think if you check with Colonel Kevasek, he'll tell you that our military academy cadets are doing even better this year than they have in the past, because all of the cadets in the military academy want to be there. We now have a leadership academy for students who want a different style of of leadership training, and they're happy to be there. Now, all of our students and cadets still benefit from the foundational pillars that we bring across, including academic excellence, moral and ethical behavior, spiritual and character training, sports and athletics excellence. The main difference between the Leadership Academy and the Military Academy is that it has to do with the leadership pillar, where it's a different style of training. For the Military Academy, in the military principles, and for the Leadership Academy, in a different set of principles, but still all leadership. So there's only really that one pillar that there's a difference, and we believe that we can have the complementary execution of both the Leadership Academy and the Military Academy together. And now, hopefully, we'll add a middle school academy to complement those two and our summer academy. So we've got a variety of offerings here that we believe will contribute to our ability to grow our enrollment. That's critical to the ongoing success and sustaining of our institution.
Very good. General Lima, if I can transition this over to you for this next question. With cost control seemingly an important measure, are there plans to include eliminating non-performing personnel?
Well, yes, but the cost control program is going to be much broader than just that. There is going to be transformation involved, which is already ongoing, actually, to combine certain staffs so that we can operate more efficiently, and reducing the head count as a result of that. We're also doing a lot of work right now in reviewing all the contracts that we have, because we have a large number of independent contractors working, and we're looking at those contracts. There's quite a bit of money involved in that. And also I have a very extensive program for performance reviews that we're going to be putting together and finalizing this month. And with that will give us the mechanisms and the infrastructure to really be able to see who are the high performers and who are not the high performers in the school, and those that are not doing well will be dealt with appropriately.
Thank you, General Lima. I'd like to stay with you for this next question as well. It pertains, can you discuss the Leadership Academy standards and how the students will be held accountable versus the Military Academy?
Well, I will say during my time as a consultant, just before being named as a president, and in the last 3 weeks or so, I've spent quite a bit of time dealing with the newly published Leadership Academy standards that are not exactly the same as those of the standard, which is for the Military Academy, that document, but similar. And that document for the Leadership Academy has just been completed. We're in the process of implementing it at the present time, and it should be fully implemented and operating in the second semester. So I think that everyone will be highly pleased with what will be the standards that will be enforced for the Leadership Academy as we go forward.
Great. Thank you, General Lima. Mr. Henn, if I can transition back over to you. You made a few remarks into the financial state of the Academy. 2 questions specifically. Is the buyback on the sale leaseback real? And will the aging infrastructure issues be addressed?
Well, first off, Steve, the buyback is very real. Once this transaction is concluded and we have a lease in place, that lease contains a very clear provision for the ability of the Academy to buy back its main campus and at a price that will be a favorable price. So we feel very good about that. Now, of course, that depends on having the financial resources to do that, but that'll be one of our objectives over the long run here as we go forward. It's a 40-year lease, and so we don't need to be in a big hurry to do that. We will have full control over our main campus for that whole entire 40 years, or perhaps forever if we're able to execute the buyback. You know, as it relates to the infrastructure, the lease that we will sign will also contain mandates about how we have to invest in our infrastructure to maintain it, to improve our maintenance of it, and perhaps even over time, add new components to our infrastructure. There's actually a provision in the lease that allows for the construction of a performing arts building for the Academy. Naturally, that depends on funds as well, but still, it is a specific provision in the lease. So I feel very good about the fact that we will be focusing hard on our infrastructure and our maintenance requirements as we go forward. We can't get it all done at once. But of course, as we do raise our enrollment and increase our financial capacity here, more and more will be possible.
Very good, thank you. General Lima, you would address some points on COVID in your remarks. How does the Academy intend to prevent the spread of COVID, given that we are headed into potentially the toughest time?
Well, thank you. As I had mentioned earlier, I was very pleased with the way that we handled the COVID-19 situation in the month of November and moving into the Thanksgiving holiday and being able to allow all of our students to go back to and meet with their parents during the Thanksgiving break. As I also mentioned, we have now the lockdown in effect here in December, and we fully expect to be able to do the same for the Christmas break period of time. We're not sure right now what the situation will be when our students return in January, whether or not we'll go into lockdown mode at that particular point in time. Not sure what will be happening relative to the availability of inoculations or the vaccine, etc. So we're not sure at this moment, but we'll be making that sort of decision in very early January as to going forward. But again, I would just like to emphasize that we do have the very best medical advice here on campus that's been doing a wonderful job in terms of giving us the timely and very accurate medical advice and helping us for any of the students that we've had to put in quarantine. So I feel very good about the way it's been handled at this point.
Very good, thank you. General Lima, if I could stay with you, where are we headed with the alumni department and an alumni director position?
Well, from what I understand, the alumni director was a position that was pretty much dedicated to working with in-person activities, activities in large-scale activities in the past, which under the present COVID-19 environment, that those things are really not possible. So at the moment, the alumni activities are really put into the alumni or the advancement department, and that department is handling those responsibilities as needed. And as long as the COVID-19 situation precludes the availability of large-scale events, we'll continue with that situation.
Very good. Another question for you, General Lima. Will there be a summer program in 2021?
Yes, we're already planning for it. We have the overall operation put together for it already. Just to give you kind of some highlights on it, in June, we will be doing the Lancer Day Camp and the JCLC, which is a program for the junior ROTC from Chicago, coming to the campus. In July, we'll be concentrating on the Summer Ops program. And in August, we'll have the ESL program and also the football camp. So those will be the main activities for summer camp. but also it's designed to allow for ample time for the maintenance work that has to be done on the buildings in preparation for what will be next year's next year's school year. So we will have the maintenance done for that in time over the summer.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Henn, transitioning back over to you, what are the new leadership's plans for interacting with Old Boys and the OBAA?
Well, Steve, we've been hampered, of course, over the COVID-19 experience here by not being able to have in-person events, and we really regret that, but there's no choice here. In the meantime, we have a position on our Board of Trustees that is dedicated to the president of the Old Boy Association. Chuck Krametbauer has that position. He does a great job. Chuck and I get along really well. He is able to maintain direct and very knowledgeable understanding of what's happening with the Academy and its operations and plans. And he works hard to convey that through the Old Boy Association. Now, at whatever point we are able to resume our in-person activities, we most certainly will, and I'll look forward to interacting with Old Boys. I'm an honorary Old Boy myself, so I'll be glad to do that. And in the meantime, we're doing these town halls now. This is the first of what I believe will be an ongoing series of these town halls that'll enable us to communicate more widely with everyone that has an interest in tuning in. So I think for now that should help us, and we'll see.
Very good, thank you. General Lima, what can or will be done to enhance the college admissions function?
Well, one thing in my position as the head of the West Point admissions field force, really for the last 10 years, I've been able to interact with guidance counselors from all across the state of Wisconsin, from many of the schools that have really excellent college admissions departments. So I understand basically how they function, and we really need to take a hard look at what we've been doing here in terms of, for instance, the working at West Point and the ROTC programs and the other service academies. Our guidance program is very good here, but I think for some of the others, we can improve it. So we'll be looking at upgrading this particular function over the next few months, and this will be part of our review of the academics department.
Very good, thank you. And Mr. Henn, what can you tell our parents who are worried about the immediate financial future of the Academy?
Well, Steve, there's no getting around the fact that we have an operating cash flow shortfall. We need to raise money to close that shortfall and support our operations. This is in the range of millions of dollars. Now, as we are successful going forward with raising enrollment, that is the most fundamental key here to reducing our dependence on having to raise money. St. John's is not unique in terms of its need to rely upon donations. Every private educational institution has substantial programs to that effect. I'm heartened by the fact that we've had good success in the past in raising money. As I mentioned, $11 million over the last couple of years. We still have a large amount to raise, including a big goal here for June 30th of 2021. Our past success gives me confidence about the future, and we have a very good plan. Now, that plan is also assisted by the fact that we have a large amount of estate gifts that have already been documented in favor of the Academy. The timing of these estate gifts, of course, is uncertain, but it will provide and has provided a steady stream of financial resource to the Academy. And those estate gifts actually are an important component supporting our fundraising plans going forward. So, we have a lot of work to do. We're up to the challenge, and we're going to meet that challenge as we go forward.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Henn, one more question for you. Some wrote that they will Some wrote, and I assume this is coming from a parent's question, they pay a lot of money to send their child to the academy and are wondering why barracks are not in better repair. What happened to the money raised for those improvements?
Well, Steve, my recollection is that we raised something like $140,000 or $150,000 at our fundraising events. I was there when we did that at the Excalibur a couple of years ago, and funds have been raised since then. These funds are still earmarked for that purpose, but the issue is we have to plan for how we go about that, and $140,000 or $150,000 isn't enough to kick off the first major phase of that project, which may well be to go through the barracks remodel with new furniture, etc. We still have to plan that exactly. But as we raise money going forward, the barracks projects will be definitely at the high end of the priority list in terms of the things that we need to do. I should point out that our tuition in the range of $40,000 or $44,000 a year is it's a lot of money, but it's still quite a bit less than the average of our NAIS brethren, private school brethren, where the average tuition is $60,000 a year. So, we believe we're providing a good value, and we will be moving forward with critical infrastructure, including the barracks remodels, as soon as we can.
Very good. Thank you. Well, gentlemen, I'm looking at the clock, and we've reached our allotted time, and we'll need to conclude this town hall meeting. I want to thank SJNA's board chair, Michael Henn, and Major General Lima for taking the time to share these significant updates and vision with us on our beloved academies. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
I also want to thank those who took the time to submit questions in advance, and those who took the time out of the day to join us here both yesterday and today. We trust that you valued the discussion and are inspired to lend your support as requested. On behalf of all the cadets, students, faculty, staff of St. John's Northwestern Academies, I wish you a very blessed and safe holiday season. Be well.